Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be making a really special ring for my friend Sean. And Sean, he's the founder of a company called Jersey Champs. You might know them from Instagram. They do a lot of really cool custom jersey work. So a while back, Sean made me a custom jersey and I wanted to return the favor and make him a custom ring. So as far as design goes for this ring, we're kind of going all out here. We're going to use carbon fiber, meteorite, and rose gold. These are three super premium materials. It's going to make for an epic ring, and it's going to match a watch that Sean has. So I'm really excited to get into this. I'm gonna go over the steps with you here real quick, and then we'll just get right into the making. All right, so I drew up a sketch of how we're gonna lay out the whole ring design. We're gonna have carbon fiber on both edges as well as on the inside of the ring, and that's gonna sandwich all the materials together. We're gonna have a rose gold stripe on either side, and then the meteorite in the middle. So it should be a really solid design, should have some great contrast, should look wonderful. And then I've calculated all of the dimensions I need. So this 17.75, that's the inside diameter of Sean's ring size, which is 7.5. And then this middle diameter here, that's what I need to make the carbon fiber in order to fit the rose gold over the top of it. And then the outside diameter, super self-explanatory, just the outermost diameter. So without further ado, I've got a block of carbon fiber here. We're gonna go cut it out on the drill press, and we'll get started machining that. All right, so the ring has two halves. That means I need two carbon fiber blanks, and so I'll use my diamond hole saws to cut two of those out right now. All right, so now I'm going to use one of my handy Patrick Adair Supplies ring mandrels, shameless plug, link to those in the description. And I'll attach the carbon fiber blank on here. I'm gonna do one at a time. And then I need to machine it down until my already machined rose gold piece fits over it just barely. It needs to be pretty snug. So as I'm machining these, I just kind of want to walk you guys through the steps that I'm going through in my head here. So carbon fiber is a very kind of temperamental material to work with. It's always prone to splitting and cracking and then having voids chip out of it. And so you really kind of got to know what you're doing with it. The first thing I did to avoid that was I left the blank super thick. That allows me to have some really good contact between the layers of the carbon. That way it's not going to split so much. And then the second thing is just using really sharp carbide on my lathe bits. I just switched to a brand new one. That way it's not putting any extra strain. It's just removing material really easily. And then I'm taking really thin passes. That's my third thing that I'm doing, is just removing probably about 1/2 millimeter of material at a time. And I'm just going slow, taking my time. And then the fourth and final thing is I'm keeping it cool. So that's what you see me just spraying this water on here, keeping it cool. That keeps down the dust as well as keeps it holding together. And because this blank is so thick, I've got a lot of material to remove on the inside. And I know what you're thinking, like, isn't the carbon fiber gonna crack when you cut it at the end? And isn't that even worse, because then you have to start all the way over? And the trick that I do there is I use abrasives. So you'll see what I do. Rather than using the lathe bit, which is really harsh and can really cause cracks and damage to it, I'm just gonna use sandpaper, and I'm just gonna slowly sand the whole thing away until I've got it to the thickness I want. Now that I've got the meteorite piece cleaned up a little bit, it's time to throw it on a mandrel and start getting some of the dimensions we want. And so I'm just gonna trim down the outer diameter, make sure it's nice and smooth, get the whole thing concentric. And then I'm going to use a parting tool to split off some of that excess meteorite because I only need kind of a thin piece and I'd really hate to waste all of this material. It's super expensive and super rare, so I like to conserve it as much as I possibly can. All right, I've got all of the components pretty much ready. Still have a couple of little things I need to do to the meteorite. I just need to clean it up, widen out the inner diameter, but then we should be ready to start assembling it. All right, I typically use my small lathe in my videos, but I need to switch over here to use my collet chuck because this is such a thin piece of meteorite. I don't want to put too much pressure with just the 3-jaw chuck on there. That's gonna leave us with the risk of it cracking. So this collet, what it'll do, just put it in place, suck it in, and that'll just hold it in place without putting such high pressure on those 3 points like the 3-jaw chuck does. So I'll just tighten this in place and machine it out just like I would on my other lathe. All right, we've got all the components machined out. It's looking great. Everything fits snug, everything's flush. This is gonna be a beautiful ring. Let's quickly, before we combine all the pieces, I'll go over what we've done and then I'll just explain the next couple of steps. All right, so here's the sketch of the exploded view of the ring that I made at the beginning, and I think we've done an excellent job of recreating everything how it should be. We've got the carbon fiber over here, rose gold, as well as the meteorite, and then just the copy of that on this other side. And then what you saw me machining at that last second there, this is just a little plastic tube. This is gonna be super helpful in gluing everything together. So it's machined so it really tightly fits the carbon fiber on there, but it's important that it actually does fit. And then it rests against this shoulder here, so it can't go any further. So it stops there. And then I'll put glue on each component individually, press it all together, and then this will allow me, and what's important here is, you see the white, it doesn't come to that edge quite all the way. It's important that the vise will put pressure here as well as here, and because of the shoulder, it's going to sandwich it just like this pretty much. But we're not going to end up gluing the ring to the vise, which is what's very important because it's going to rip itself apart at the end. Then, once we've got this, we're gonna have the problem of this being stuck to it. So we just need to machine that away. Should be really quick and easy. Then at that point, we're going to shape the ring, get it all to its final dimensions. The last steps we'll need to do is going to be an etch to the meteorite and then just polishing it up. So we're in the home stretch, it's looking great. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, we're ready to start gluing everything together. I'm going to be using CA glue for this. I kept it in the fridge. That'll give me a little bit better working time. And I'm just gonna go one by one and just glue each individual component. It's important that I do it one by one so that I get glue all over every single surface. And it's gonna be very important not to forget any of these pieces, because once I glue this end carbon fiber cap on, there's nothing I can do to get another component on. So I'll just move quickly but stay focused, and then I just need to put it all together in the vise and we'll be good to go. All right, everything's all glued up. I went ahead and sanded away the majority of the plastic, and now I'll just use the lathe to remove any remaining bits. All right, earlier I was telling you how I like to avoid using cutting on the lathe on carbon fiber, and instead I like to use abrasives. Here's a great example. Instead of putting this on a mandrel and shaving it down, I'm gonna do as much as I can here on the belt sander. That should avoid any risk of splintering and cracking of the carbon fiber. We definitely don't want that to happen at this stage. All right, I've got the outer diameter all shaved down. It's perfectly smooth. It's looking great. All I have left to do is I need to sand some bevels onto this. I typically, on metals, I would use a bit to give it a nice bevel like this. But again, I don't want the carbon fiber to splinter. So very carefully going to sand some nice, really precise as I can bevels with the Dremel. Then I'll just sand and finish everything up. The inside I need to hollow out a bit more, get it to size. Gonna have everything polished, then it'll be all but finished, and then we just need to etch the meteorite in acid. After I'm done with that, I'll check back in with you at the grand reveal. Let's do it. All right, for finishing, I'm just gonna go through all the different grits of sandpaper like you've seen me do before. But what's new here is this is a new Patrick Adair Supplies polish. We developed it specifically for jewelry, and it's a super effective polish. It'll leave us a fantastic finish. I promise you, you won't find anything better. All right, this thing's finished. Check this out. We've spent a very long day on this. It looks incredible. That meteorite finish turned out perfect. Rose gold, super, super glossy, super smooth. I love how the acid doesn't do anything to it. That's just kind of like proof of how corrosion resistant gold is. And then those nice bevels I was able to keep on the carbon fiber, fantastic. And a nice finish on the inside. And guess what? Sean and I have the same ring size. Might have to keep this one, sorry Sean. Just kidding, not very funny, okay. Anyways guys, that's the video. This was one of the coolest rings I think I've made in a long time. This is, I don't know, this just has it all. Every kind of cool material you'd ever want in a ring. This has it. It's beautiful, it's comfortable, it's gonna be super convenient to wear. Very nice. All right guys, thank you so much for watching. Sean, I hope you enjoy your ring. This is a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys next week. All right guys, the ring is finished. Sean is actually here for an event we are both going to. So here it is, Sean. I hope you like it. It was a lot of fun to make. We engraved it and everything. It was a good time. Yes, Sean, sir. If they want to find you on social media, the internet, where should they look?
Sean Mike Kelly on Instagram, guys.
Okay, we'll have that in the description, all of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a lot of fun. See ya.